Hey, y'all, welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Male Gynecologist. I'm your host, Dr. Shawn Tassone, America's Holistic Gynecologist. You can find me on Instagram at Shawn Tassone MD. I'm also on Facebook, but who's on Facebook anymore? And I have a TikTok account as well as a YouTube channel. You can get more than any information you ever wanted about women's health and hormones, a little bit of fun, a little bit of attitude. And you can also dive into my book, The Hormone Balance Bible. You can get it on Amazon, where I talk about the 12 most common hormone imbalances in women in the language of archetypes to make it a little more comprehensive and understandable. I took some weeks off because, well, one, I got engaged. Never thought I would be getting married again in my life. I went through a divorce about 7 years ago, and after 20 years or so of marriage, and things were different back then. There were no phones, and you meet people. That's how you got to know people, and you worked with them, and that's how you know them. And now you've got these apps, and oh my God, what a journey it was. I met some really great people and ended up marrying a woman are engaged to a woman that I've known for about 17 years, and the person that I wasn't expecting. She's the most amazing, beautiful human being I've ever met in my life. And with some coaxing, I think I can get her on the program and talk about some fun things. So I took some time off and getting back into it now. And because of the season, last December, I interviewed all of my kids. And I thought about doing an update on that, but really a year in the life of a younger person probably doesn't see too much in the way of change. So I'll probably bring it back next year. So what I wanted to do today was talk about the 10 things that I think you should get for Christmas. And some of it's tongue in cheek, but a lot of it is really just what I think would help most women probably feel better, look better, be better on labs, on paper, and just overall get the health and get your kind of mojo back. So here's, and no in particular order, but number one, what I wanted everyone to know and to have is dihydroberberine. And it's top of mind right now because dihydroberberine is probably one of the most amazing supplements that I've seen come out in years. And as you all know, I'm a supplemental purist. I don't like proprietary formulas. I prefer to have things be one ingredient, a medicinal amount of this ingredient, so that you get the results. And the company that I like the most is Endurance Products. They have a dihydroberberine. And why is it dihydroberberine instead of just berberine? Well, I'm going to tell you. My friend Sean Wells, who's actually been on the podcast, is probably one of the biggest formulators of supplements in the world. And he discovered that berberine didn't really absorb particularly well and had to be broken down into its byproduct, dihydroberberine. That's the active constituent. So he just said, well, why don't we just use dihydroberberine instead of berberine? And it's genius. And berberine works on different levels. First of all, head-to-head against a medicinal like metformin works really well for polycystic ovarian syndrome. It helps lower glucose levels. It helps the way that your body utilizes glucose and through the AMPK pathways. It also reduces inflammation and helps lower cholesterol levels. So it's a really great product. There really are limited side effects. I use it in my weight loss programs. I use it myself. I recommend using it 3 months on, probably 2 to 3 weeks off, and then starting back up again. The only downside that I've seen is it can interfere with absorption of vitamin B12, which is why I cycle off of it for a few weeks. But other than that, it's really a great substance and a great product. Number two, I wish you had a copy of my book, The Hormone Balance Bible. And yes, I say that because I wrote the book, but the reality is many women nowadays are getting gaslighted, and it hasn't really changed in the 3 years since I wrote the book. And I wrote the book because I really wanted to get the information out there about the 12 most common hormonal imbalances, but done in a way where you can understand the information that's being given to you. And I thought the best way to do that, because I'd already sat with like 40,000 women, was to tell the stories that I'd heard over and over and over again. And I noticed in my own practice, when I would talk to women in the vein of those storylines, it was like light bulbs were going off, or tears were flowing, because for the first time in a long time, they felt like they were being listened to. And while I would love to take credit for it, the reality of the book is that it's coming from the stories, and it's coming from the women that have come before you for the last 15 to 18 years. And so I think the Hormone Balance Bible, you can get it on Amazon. It's around $18. It's got 500 pages of the imbalances, and then a 6-step process for each one, how to fix it, that I call my Shines protocol. And it also goes through each of the hormones. It talks about the labs that I order and really gives you an idea of where you're at. That leads me to number 3. I wish you all could have your labs drawn, and not just labs, but I wish you could have the right labs drawn and not have to spend a lot of money on that process. Anymore, you can get a full hormone lab panel for under $200. And if somebody's charging you more than that, or if your insurance is charging you $2,000, then please let me know. We can get those ordered for much cheaper. What's included in a full lab panel? Basically, basic hormone panel, estradiol, progesterone, free and total testosterone with a sex hormone binding globulin, DHEA, vitamin D, thyroid stimulating hormone, free T3, free T4. You can throw in a couple extras if you want to check reverse T3. If you're on thyroid medication, you can check insulin, glucose, and kidney and liver function if you want to get a little bit more involved. But I wish every woman had that opportunity. I wish that there was no gaslighting, and that you had the opportunity to get the labs done that you want. Number 4, I wish everybody knew about Feminescence, which is a product out of Peru that's Maca. And the reason I say this is I think probably 20 to 40% of all women's hormonal issues might be alleviated, or at least better, if you are on this medication. Or I call it a medication because it has really great results, but it's a supplement, and it's by a company called Symphony. I've talked about Symphony for probably 9 years. I really like their product. I like their mission statement. I love the fact that they take care of the farmers and fair trade agreements, and that they are on top of all of the research. This company has done literally all the research that is out there on Maca. Maca is kind of like the grout that's in between the tiles in your bathroom. It holds everything together. It makes things work better, and even on its own can alleviate a lot of symptoms: hot flashes, mood swings, irritability, heavy periods. For some women, it can help with polycystic ovarian syndrome and ovulation, fertility. And the reason that I like this company is because there's 13 different types of maca. They all do different things. They do different things if they're grown in different places. So say black maca, which might work for problem A, if you grow it in the wrong part of the country, it's not going to have the same qualities. It's very complex. It's very amazing, and has been used for thousands of years in Peru. If you buy a powder, you don't know what you're getting. There's even maca that works better for men. And if you are using that one, who knows what's going to happen? So that's why I like to use this company. That's why I've vetted this company. And I think that they are on the top of their game. Number 5, I think I'm on 5. Let's count. I think it would be nice for every woman to not be gaslighted. I wish that you didn't have to be an advocate for your own health. I wish that you could get the results that you wanted, that you could go in and talk about what you wanted and what you needed, and you didn't get told that, oh, you're just getting older, or you're not old enough, or you look too good to really have these problems. Any sort of pandering that makes you feel less heard. Number 6, I also wish that there wasn't predatory advertising. There are so many people out there that, especially celebrities, Halle Berry, Drew Barrymore, there's a couple other, now that they have realized that there is tons of money to be made in menopause and perimenopause. They're out there in full force. Everybody has a supplement now. Everybody has a product now. Red light therapy for your vagina. My Alloy has the stupid estriol face cream that's worthless. Everybody is out there selling something because there are millions and millions of women now in perimenopause and menopause, and you all have a lot of purchasing power, and you're being pandered to by companies, coaches, alternative practitioners that are trying to sell you some sort of detox program, and most of it's complete and utter trash that you don't need. If you want to look at my Hormone Project membership, thehormoneproject.com, it's a monthly membership where I have a lot of things involved, tons of content that I've pre-recorded. This month's all about supplements. I do a monthly live. I will be inviting some friends in there, and you all get discounts on your supplements. You get discounts if you make an appointment with me. So it basically pays for itself. But it's just a way for me to be a little bit more active with people that have questions that I can't really answer on, say, Instagram. And it gives you more one-on-one potential action with me online so that you can ask those questions that have really been bothering you. But I will go through supplements in the membership, talking about how to read labels, how to look at proprietary formulas, why I like certain things, why I don't like certain things, and basically the false narrative that's being pushed down your throat every 5 minutes. Number 7, I wish they would get rid of the word perimenopause. I'm going to tell you why. Perimenopause has been around since there have been women, because perimenopause is simply a word. It's not a diagnosis. And so when you go into the doctor and you speak to them and you say, I think I'm in perimenopause, you might get an eye roll, because technically it's not a thing. It's not a disease. It's not a disorder that the medical doctor is going to recognize. They will recognize hot flashes, mood swings, irritability, fatigue, insomnia, weight gain, and stuff like that, which are symptoms of perimenopause that they can focus on and work on. But the word perimenopause in Latin just means peri, around, menopause. It's menopause. So it's a stage of life and can start around 35 to 55. So any woman in their late 30s, early 40s, and beyond is perimenopausal. Now, that doesn't mean you're having any problems. You're just perimenopausal by the sheer definition of it. The thing is it's getting jammed down your throats because, again, it's a marketing term. It's a way to get into this program or that program or sell this supplement or that supplement. When the reality is we should just be focusing on the symptoms that you have. How do we make the insomnia better? Oh, progesterone or POPs or something. But using this word perimenopause really brings up some disdain in the medical community, because just like the old adage of adrenal fatigue, it's not an actual medical diagnosis. It's a word that we understand, unlike adrenal fatigue, but it's not going to give you the answers that you need, and you might get an eye roll or two. So I kind of wish we could just get rid of it and be done with it, but I don't have that kind of power. And unfortunately, the marketers have grabbed onto it and really made it into something that it's not. Unfortunately, again, it's all about money. I wouldn't necessarily say misinformation, but I do think that the celebrities, especially the ones I mentioned, Holly Berry, big time, using her platform, unfortunately, to sell a lot of garbage. And it really makes me sad because she had a really great opportunity to go into it and to go a little deeper, but she didn't. Number 8, I wish we could get rid of estradiol and estriol face creams. I think they are a marketing thing. I think they're a scam. And I say this only in women who are menopausal, who don't have estrogen. So if for whatever reason, if you're in a menopausal age range and you don't have estrogen, you're not taking estrogen, then these estrogen creams might help your skin. However, if you are a menopausal woman or a perimenopausal woman and you have good amounts of circulating estrogen in your body, these are a complete waste of your money. They have absolutely no evidence to support them. The one company, My Alloy, will tout that they've done a study. They had 30 patients in the arm of estradiol cream. That is not a study. That's an interesting case finding, but it's not a study. They know better than that, but they think that you'll fall prey to it and you'll want to use it. The information in the quote unquote study that they have is basically a dermatologist who looked at before and afters. Very, very subjective data. It's complete garbage. It wouldn't pass the smell test with any physician. And if you need estrogen for your skin, which you do, it plumps skin. It makes more collagen, more elastin. You can come at it from the top and put the cream on, which may or may not help, or you can take it from the inside and get estrogen throughout your entire body. Your skin has very, very rich blood supply, and the estrogen will get to your skin if you have adequate levels of estrogen. So if you have a good amount of estrogen, this is a complete waste of your money. And I wish that these things would go away once and for all, because I think they're just complete and utter scams for women. And that's a trend right now because of the amount of money that you all have as a purchasing power group. Millions upon millions of women are entering menopause, and you're very vocal and you want to feel better, and that's great. Number 9, I wish there was an FDA-approved testosterone replacement for women. Currently, as it stands, there aren't any. And because of this, you have physicians out there like the Menopause group being headed up by Kelly Casperson, who probably has good intentions, but she's using male dosing of testosterone for women, which is wrong, in my opinion. And I wish women didn't need to go to doctors that are using male hormones to make themselves feel better. The reality is you can get testosterone, you can get testosterone replacement, and doctors will say to you, well, it's not FDA approved, which is why they're using the male dosing. That's not FDA approved for women either. And actually, they're using it off label, and I think it's being done in a dangerous way because most women are probably getting way more testosterone than they need. But you can compound hormones, and the compounded hormone testosterone is FDA approved. The actual testosterone itself is FDA approved. What's not FDA approved, and the shysters don't tell you this, it's the compounding pharmacy, because the FDA does not approve pharmacies. So they don't go around to all these compounding pharmacies and approve them. They just approve the medications. But the medications, the compounded medicines, have been FDA approved. There's absolutely nothing wrong with compounding hormones. That scam of a society, the North American Menopause Society, now the Menopause Society, which is a complete scam that's run and owned by big pharmacy and even some big companies that sell supplements that are owned by big pharmacy, will only support the companies that obviously fund them. They're not going to support bioidentical type compounded hormones because the compounding pharmacies aren't giving them any money. So they're not going to make any money off of it, and therefore they won't teach about it. So in my opinion, a NAMS certified
provider means absolutely nothing. And that's just my opinion, but I think it's a rather worthless certification. It's just basically I don't know anything about hormones. Teach me something. And the only thing they're teaching is what they believe in. And I think that that's a very narrowed lens. So unfortunately, doctors that are out there promoting you got to search for a North American Menopause Society certified provider basically are telling you that they don't use testosterone, they don't use compounded hormones, and they're extremely limited in their views on the way that the hormones can actually work and how they can be individualized for you as a person. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using medications that you can get from CVS or Walgreens, like estradiol patches, bioidentical oral progesterone. It's just that there is no current way to do testosterone for women, which continues to show you the misogyny that is in the healthcare arena and pharmaceuticals, because women are reduced to vaginal atrophy, vaginal dryness, and hot flashes. One last thing that I wish would be taken away is the North American Menopause Society. Again, I've done an entire podcast about this organization that I think is a sham. They don't really help. They actually hinder, in my opinion, the viewpoints of hormones. If you look back at their history, one of their very first presidents, he might have been their first president, Wolf Utian, was steadfastly against bioidentical hormones. He was steadfastly against compounding hormones, actually called doctors who prescribed them quacks, quote unquote. And it's interesting, though, because until the big pharmaceutical companies started coming out with bioidentical patches and things like estrase and whatnot, he then did a 180 and then wrote a book about bioidentical hormones, like he's the expert, when he was demonizing them like 2 years prior. The organization itself is simply run by money, and it's run by big pharmacy. The doctors that teach there really only toe the company line. They don't think outside the box because they can't. In these organizations, or any organization that gives continuing medical education, like the new movie that came out, The M Factor by Tansim Fadal, they're bragging about how they got continuing medical education credits for doctors, which sort of is true, but sort of not true. They have to toe the party line. The fact that it's CME certified means that they have to be approved by medical societies that they're saying the right stuff, which means they can't really talk about things that are going to run amiss of the medical organizations, like compounded hormones, like testosterone for women. So they're really quite limited in what they can do and what they have to teach. So a lot of this wish list are, I wish things would go away. But the reality is I wish things would open up. I wish women had more ideas and more ability to talk. The last thing I want to, and this is a bonus one, number 11, or number 10 if I missed a number, is I wish that there was a lot more truth out there about semaglutide and tirzepatide, Ozempic and Mounjaro. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of, again, scammers, especially these med spas that are doing this just to get you in the door. You get what you pay for. And you, again, want to see somebody that knows what they're doing. These medications are extremely life-changing and powerful. They not only lower your insulin resistance, they curb appetite, they work on inflammation, they work on addictive behaviors. I think we're just scratching the surface with these medications. And what's fascinating is the misinformation out there about these medications is being propagated by the weight loss industry because they're losing money. When the reality is they could really just work in tandem with these medications and probably make more money. You do need the help of a nutritionist. You should still lift weights. You need to learn how to use these in an effective way as a tool, not the end all be all. The problem is you have these money makers out there, these damn med spas and plastic surgeons who think that they see dollar signs. If I give these shots, women are going to come in, they're going to want Botox, they're going to want, when they lose 50 pounds, they're going to have saggy skin. So what they do is they give it to you super cheap. They have you come in once a week to take the shot, and they don't know what they're doing with the medication because they don't give a shit. And so you really don't lose a ton of weight because you have to go up on the medications and then you wean people off. I think over time, we're going to find that these medications already, we know they decrease heart disease because of the weight loss, but I think we're going to find that people live longer. They are naturally occurring peptides. They have been around discovered probably for about 60 years. So people that say there isn't any data are full of shit because we have tons of data because it's been used in diabetics for decades. And we don't see diabetics just dropping dead. They're actually living longer because it controls blood sugar. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas 2024. Keep in mind, again, there are things that you can look at. Thehormoneproject.com is my attempt to keep you informed. If you want to go deeper, if you love hormones, you want more education, you want to learn more about your health, go to thehormoneproject.com, sign up. It's $47 a month, more information than you could ever want. All the freebies that you get on the back end and discounts will pay for the monthly fee. It's out there. It's available. This month we're talking about supplements, so please feel free to give us a look at thehormoneproject.com. The Hormone Balance Bible is on Amazon. I hope you all have a great holiday season and that you don't drink too much eggnog. Take care.